So welcome guys, welcome to Learn Chef 101. So here you're going to learn how to automate your infrastructure with Chef. So before that we're going to learn what's infrastructure as cloud and how do we use Chef to automate the infrastructure. So in the DevOps model, developers and system operators work closely together throughout the software development process to deploy software more frequently and more reliably. So many new third-party and proprietary tools have been developed to support automation, measurement, and sharing. So the Chef is a configuration management tool for information technology, so professionals like you. So because there are a wide variety of definitions for the term configuration management, let's take a moment to explain what configuration management means in context of this video and why you need a configuration management tool. So we'll also cover what Chef is and why you need it as well. So let's start with what is configuration management. So with respect to IT, configuration management covers the set of engineering practices for managing the entities involved in delivering software applications to consumer that consists of hardware, software, infrastructure, people, process. So the configuration management came about to address the fundamental challenges involved into doing group work, managing changes when your lone system administrator with a handful of servers to manage. It's relatively straightforward. Trying to coordinate this work of multiple system administrators and developers involving hundreds or even thousands of servers and applications to support a large customer base is complex and typically requires the support of a tool. So Chef is a configuration management tool for dealing with machine setup on physical servers, virtual machines, and even in cloud. So many companies use Chef software to control and manage their infrastructure, including Facebook, Cheeseburger, or Indiegogo, etc. So a modern IT configuration management tool usually involves an implementation inspired by the automation and policy-based theory originally developed by Mark Burgers. So he developed the following key ideas of this theory of automating IT when he professed at Oslo Tech University College in late 1990s and early 2000s. So why you need a configuration management tool to automate IT? There are a number of reasons why automated configuration management tools plays a vital role in managing complex enterprise infrastructure. So there are 4 reasons I could name it. So that might be consistency, effective change management, simplicity in rebuild, and visibility. So talking about those, so consistency is just like if your infrastructure is being configured manually, how do you know your server are being set up in a consistent manner? Further, how do you know these changes are being performed in a way that meets your compliance and security requirements? And talking about efficient change management. So whenever infrastructure is built manually without the aid of a configuration management tool, people tend to fear change. Over time, servers that are maintained by the hand tend to become fragile environments that are hard to understand and modify. So, just talking about simplicity in rebuild, when servers are built manually, it's typically not easy to rebuild them from scratch, right? So what would happen if you suddenly lost your servers in catastrophic event? How quickly could you restore service if a disaster struck, right? So automated deployment using a configuration management tool help quickly restore the service rather than bothering to upgrade or batch application, which can inherently fragile operation system administrator can build a new upgraded system in an automated fashion. And the last one is visibility. So visibility in configuration management tools include auditing and reporting capabilities. So monitoring the work performed by the system administrator don't require a sophisticated tool, but trying to understand what is going with the term of, say, 10 numbers of administrators and 10 software developers developing software changes many times per day. You need a configuration tool then. So when infrastructure changes are handled by the automated systems, changes can be automatically logged into our relevant tracking systems to raise visibility on the meaningful work your teams are doing. So, but what does that really mean, right? So, configuration management tool is all about trying to ensure that files and software you're expecting to be on a machine are present, configured correctly, and working as intended, right? So, when you have a single machine, this is fairly simple. When you have 5 or 10 servers, it is still possible to get this manually, but it may take all day. However, when your infrastructure scales up into thousands, we need a better way doing this. So there comes the chef comes into the picture. So before we get into infrastructure, before we get into what is chef and try to understand how it works, so let's get something, the term called as infrastructure as code. So what is infrastructure as code? So infrastructure as code is just your it's just your so what's infrastructure as code? This is a type of IT infrastructure that operates teams can automatically manage and provision through code rather than using a manual process. Infrastructure code is sometimes referred as a programmable infrastructure. You don't have to worry about going and installing something or configuring something. You just have to write a code and just deploy it when, how much time you want to do. So talking about infrastructure as code, how it's used in Chef. So Chef helps to solve this problem by treating infrastructure as code rather than manually changing anything. So collection of recipes are stored in cookbooks. For example, web application with a database will have 2 recipes, one for each part stored together in a cookbook. So these are the terms we rather used in Chef language. So you don't have to worry about that. We'll talk more about this. What's a recipe, what's a cookbook, what's a chef server, what's a chef workstation. So you just have to understand what is infrastructure as code. So there is a chef server where we store all the cookbooks, and the patches and updates can be rolled out every time, or your entire infrastructure by changing the recipe. No need to interact with each machine individually. So the Chef is an automation platform that configures and manages your infrastructure, whether it is on premises or in cloud. You can deploy the infrastructure type that makes most sense of your business. You can use Chef to speed up application deployment, even creating a continual deployment pipeline. The key to Chef's power is that it turns infrastructure into code. So infrastructure code, as I already said, that means that your computing environment has some of the same attributes as your application. So your infrastructure is versionable, your infrastructure is repeatable, your infrastructure is testable. So that's it, guys, for this video. In the next video, we'll learn how to install Chef and what are the different components of Chef, and how are we going to write a recipe cookbook, how do we install Chef server, and etc. So See you in the next video. Bye bye.